Thank you for being here. Now that we all know how to create good PowerPoints, you can critique mine. So I am talking about sustainable pet habits and how our pets impact the environment. So I'm just going to do a quick little introduction to myself. I am a graduate student at Miami University in Ohio. I am studying biology and conservation, and I have been studying pets and their impact on the environment for about a year. I have 3 cats of my own, you can see right here. I love them very much. All right, so I'm just going to start with a brief survey just to gauge kind of where we're at with pets in the room. So if you guys don't mind just raising your hand, who here has pets or their family has pets? Okay, about what I thought. All right, and then who is planning to get pets in the future, either if you currently have pets or don't? Me as well. All right, and then who feels like they are already a sustainable pet owner? All right. All right, so we're going to get into it. I'm just going to do a brief introduction onto the topic itself, and then we'll kind of dive into it a little bit more. So we all have a carbon footprint. I feel like that's pretty well known by now. This is through the activities we participate in daily, the food we eat, the cars we drive, the energy we use. A lot of those activities emit carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere, creating our own carbon footprint. What we do for our pets also kind of increases that, so it kind of gives our pets the kind of own carbon paw print, if you will. Over 50% of households in the US have pets, such as those in this room. It kind of looks like it was an even 50 split. That accounts for over 157 million cats and dogs throughout the country. Who here has a pet that isn't a cat or a dog? Ooh, what do you have?
I have 2 pets. I have a goldfish named Goldie.
Okay.
And then I have a pet bearded dragon.
Aww. Was there a hand over here that?
I have 2 fishes.
Okay. Okay, so fish might be the next common animal, but in the US it is cats and dogs. So pet food, diseases, how they interact with the outdoors, all of those have an impact on the environment. And those are the next few topics I am going to talk about. All right, so the first impact I'm going to talk about is pet food. So food production in the United States is one of the biggest impacts on the environment through the use of land, water, and fossil fuels. Those can all have very negative effects on the environment, and so pet food is no different. It accounts for 25 to 30% of environmental impacts of food production in the United States. And then cats and dogs in the US alone consume as much dietary energy as around 62 million Americans. If you look up here, it looks at kilojoules. It compares men and women, what they eat versus cats and dogs. So men eat around 10,330 kilojoules a day, whereas women eat around 7,600 compared to dogs that eat around 5,594, and cats eat around 1,426 kilojoules a day. So it's pretty similar to what we eat, so it makes sense that the food that cats and dogs eat also has an impact on the environment the way our food does. And so meat consumption from pets accounts for 64 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually just in the United States. That's the equivalent of driving 13.6 million cars. All right, so next we're going to talk about pet waste. Dog feces and cat feces have a great impact on the environment. For example, up to 40% of dog owners do not pick up their dog waste outside. That can assist in spreading viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Can also get into water sources where either animals live or drinking water. And then cat litter also has quite a few negative impacts, such as clay litter specifically. It is not biodegradable. And the mining for the clay leads to a reduction in vegetation, trees, rocks, and topsoil, which reduces biodiversity, which helps increase climate change. And then crystal or gel-based litter also is not sustainable, as the mining for it has very high carbon emissions, the mining for the quartz that is used to create that. And then flushing cat litter can also damage septic systems or sewer lines. And so next we're going to talk about wildlife and the outdoors and how pets can impact them. So climate change allows for diseases to spread faster, and zoonotic diseases are no different. So when animals spend more time outside, it's easier for them to contract these zoonotic diseases, spread them to us or other animals, and spread it more. A lot of that is from eating dead animals that have those diseases. However, ticks, for example, are a major zoonotic disease that can be spread to us from our pets. And those are also on the rise because of climate change. And so when we let our pets outside, those spread more. And so next we're going to talk about outdoor cats. They have a pretty detrimental impact on the wildlife. For example, they have led to the extinction of 63 species around the world. That does include birds, mammals, and reptiles. They are listed as one of the world's worst non-native invasive species because of that. They kill up to 2.4 billion birds around the world. I triple checked that because that's an insane amount. All right, there's a lot of negative stuff. Climate change and environmental impacts are not always easy to talk about, but as with most things in life, there are ways to do your part and be sustainable. So the first one we're going to talk about is solutions for pet food. Checking if it is certified by the Aquaculture Stewardship Council or the Marine Stewardship Council are great ways to ensure any seafood you're using for pet food is sustainably sourced and made. You can also be sure you're not overfeeding your pets. Around 60% of all cats and dogs in the United States are overfed. So if you're not overfeeding them, you're not over-purchasing food, which means you're not impacting the environment more from that food production we talked about. If time and money allows for it, making your own pet food is also a great option. I would talk to your vet about that though. Some animals need very specific diets, but that's also another great way to be sustainable. And so when it comes to pet waste, one of the easiest things you can do is just pick up your dog waste. If you want to even go a step further, you can use biodegradable bags. Using eco-friendly cat litter is another great option, such as recycled paper, wood pellets, and sawdust. Those options are also a lot cheaper a lot of the times. And then if you're into composting, another great way to be sustainable is to just compost your pet waste if that's something you're already doing or want to get into. And then when we're talking about pets and wildlife, again, one of the easiest things to do that I'm sure most of you are already doing is to just keep your pets vaccinated. That protects them against diseases as well as you. And then adopting pets rather than breeding is a great way to reduce the amount of stray cats, as well as neutering and spaying animals. That kind of helps out and protects the wildlife because there aren't as many out there to kill that wildlife. And then if you're taking your pets outside, you can monitor them outside. It's a great way to, great, easy, cheap way to be sustainable because if they're out there with you, they're not getting into things they shouldn't or interacting with wildlife they shouldn't. All right, so that is all I have for you today. I know a lot of us look at pets as family. I know I do. I love my cats very much. And we want to keep them happy and healthy. However, some of the things we do to keep them happy and healthy do impact the environment in negative ways. But as we talked about, there are always solutions to mitigate their impact and to do better for the environment and your pets. So hopefully you all feel a little bit better equipped to make the correct decision regarding your pets. And so I'm just going to finish with one question. Who here is going to make at least one change to their pet's habits to become a more sustainable pet owner? Awesome. It's hard. Some of them are a little expensive, but if the time and money allows it, it's a great way to do your part for the environment. As always, you should do what's best for your family and your pets. They always come first. And if you're making any changes to like their litter especially or their food, always talk to your vet about that as well. And here are all the references I used. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. My email was on the first slide. I can go back to that as well. Thank you.